Without further ado, let's get started. The first person going to join us is Mark Davies of Solar Legacy. Are you with us, Mark? Come on up. Give it a round of applause. And where is your mic? Oh, well, we'll just talk to you, and a mic will, in a moment, appear.
Here we go.
Thanks very much. Here's your mic.
This one, thank you.
Yeah, yours is live, or will be in a second. Right, so Mark, why don't you start? I'll make myself comfortable. Why don't you start by telling us about Solar Legacy and about the challenge you're bringing to everyone tonight?
Okay.
Don't worry, it'll still pick up in a second. Go ahead, keep talking.
Solar Legacy is an organisation which we're hoping to turn into a members organisation, which has been set up to deal with climate change issues and the introduction of renewable energy technology, both to the developing and industrial worlds. We're working on a number of projects at the moment. I think what I would have to begin with is to explain our charitable project, because it then becomes our unique selling point for all of the products and services that we have available in the UK. If you don't mind, I'm going to get a few props.
Oh, I see.
Okay, that's why I brought the bag up to this stage.
That's fine. I wondered why you brought a bag on stage.
I'll explain the reason as I go along.
So long as you pick up the mic again so everyone can hear you, you're allowed to anything you like, within reason.
Okay, sorry about that.
That's okay.
It's working now as well.
It is.
Basically, we're involved in planting trees across the developing world for the purpose of restoring degraded lands, giving communities that have suffered loss of homes and way of life as a result of deforestation. We're giving them the option to work on a self-help program to plant trees on these lands and learn to look after themselves and sustain themselves again as people with crops and stuff that the trees will produce. There are a number of organisations in the UK that use tree planting as carbon offsetting. In particular, quite a few of those are charities. The cheapest that I've found is offering tree planting for £2.95 per tree. We're planting trees across 16 countries at the moment in which we're focusing, but we have access to over 40 countries for 10 pence each.
Just to make sure I understand, so it is costing you 10 pence to plant a tree in average across the 16 countries. Is that correct?
That's what I'm charging to people for donations to our project. What it's actually costing us is 10 US cents to plant the tree. Okay.
So basically, there's an uplift there.
For the sake of dealing with people in England, we've simplified it and just said 10 pence, but we're bringing added value to the tree planting. Hence, we have solar-powered lanterns, which we are using in countries such as Ethiopia, Kenya, and places like that, where people are relying on either using candles or kerosene lamps. Kerosene lamps alone are responsible for over 10,000 deaths per year as a result of
So relate the two to me. So on the one hand, you've got a project where you receive money from people who are trying to carbon offset. Is that correct?
Either to carbon offset or just for a charitable donation.
And is that a charity that you're set up to do? Is that how
it's all part of we're a community interest company limited by guarantee.
Great. And you're charging for this. You're sustaining your own operations, presumably, on this activity?
We sustain the operation. For example, we're focusing on a project with these radios at the moment. We're sending them to Southeast Asia. They have a solar panel on the top, and on the back, they have a wind-up mechanism. I'm not going to switch the radio on now.
No, that would be bad. Yeah.
Basically, that's a self-sustaining radio that can be used in these places. These are actually designed for use in humanitarian projects. Nobody could buy these products from the company that's making them.
Just to explain, what's the link between these products and the carbon offset?
Okay, well, we make roughly 30% with the exchange rate.
Of course.
With the tree planting. Now, we don't want to make money. If we wanted to make money, we'd be trying to charge £2.95 a tree, such as our other competitors in the UK. So we wanted to bring some added value to this tree planting and to the people in the developing world.
So, but make sure I understand. It's because you had the surplus that caused you to want to see what else could you do in the places you're working that drove you to make these products available? Is that correct?
Absolutely. Our company name is Solar Legacy, and one of our main objectives is to introduce free solar energy both into the industrial and developing worlds. the radios and the lanterns are my solution to the difficult task of introducing renewable energy technology into sub-Saharan African countries, for example, where you have the wildlife and everything to think about, the destruction that can be caused by that. Also the logistics of actually fitting long-term power generating equipment in these places. I don't think that on the 30% that we get, we would actually be able to make any realistic projects.
Can I ask a question? Why did you why have you tested pricing on your 10 pence? Meaning, in other words, it is the delta, the gap between £2.95 and 10 pence is huge. So I'm just curious, if you went and doubled your charge and charged 20 pence, do you know what would happen? I don't. I'm just asking. I'm purely asking because all of a sudden you've created another gap. And since, as you say, you're limited by guarantee, you have no choice and you have a deep desire to funnel this money back into your core mission and purpose. I'm just wondering whether, as it were, for lack of a better expression, you're leaving money on the table that could accelerate your social goals because you have created such a broad gap between what the commercial providers are essentially providing and what you're charging, that whether or not you're actually hobbling your opportunity to increase your mission.
That's a very interesting dilemma, really, that we're in there.
It smells more like an opportunity.
It's an opportunity for other organisations that wish to get involved in carbon offsetting because they can come to us and pay us 10p per tree and they can charge whatever they want to charge and actually make money.
But what? Anthony, your turn. You ask me.
Okay, if I could just briefly
What's your actual mission? I mean, let's start with what is the mission of the organisation you've established?
The mission of the organisation is to supply free solar energy both in the UK and in developing world countries.
So the use of the carbon offset is just simply a product you're selling to enable you to fund your mission?
Okay, I'm going to skip these projects for a moment. Obviously, there are other implications, educational side of things. We're giving access to education where there's nothing. Some people walk 15 miles a day to a school and stuff like that out there.
Projects are
but
good.
we'll put these to one side for the moment. The purpose of the tree planting, we now have developed a unique selling point at this 10p per tree that nobody else can compete with regard to our selling renewable energy products in the UK. At the moment, we're geared up and we have contracts and deals in place with a major player in the commercial air conditioning industry to tackle the R22 replacement, which is the refrigerant gas that's just become illegal to replace for servicing of equipment. In 5 years' time, it's going to be illegal completely. 2 years ago, the market was at 3.8 billion for heating air conditioning market. 25% approximately of all equipment in use at the moment in the UK contains R22. So we're expecting it to get busy over the next 5 years. Now what we do, because we can plant the trees so cheaply, it's feasible for us to offer to completely carbon neutralise the building to which we attach any of our equipment. There's nobody else doing that in the UK. So we're offering energy-saving equipment. You can save up to 70% of your energy bills on an air source heat pump for a domestic application. Or you can save up to 40% of your energy use by installing a more efficient commercial air conditioning system. But there are certain things that you cannot change. We don't have the technology to completely carbon neutralise every building. But because of the fact that a tree will remove sustainably a certain amount of CO2 from the atmosphere every year, we can use that as a very loosely calculated carbon offset and offer the carbon neutral option for this equipment.
So you've introduced another element to your business, which is the installation of efficient heating systems.
That's right.
Is that what you actually do?
Basically, that's one of the things that we do. We work on a risk-free basis with the suppliers and installers of this equipment, where they would just pay us an introducer's fee, a commission, 5% commission, flat rate. We've got no risk. We've got no outlay for the equipment to install it anywhere. They do all of the work. They take all of the risk, and we get paid our commission check at the end.
Sorry, are you doing the selling of this package?
We will do. We don't actually have to get that involved in the selling. There are technical salespeople that are highly trained professionals in this field.
No, you're just adding in the added value.
We generate a lead and we add value.
So you're paid the commission on the handing over the lead when it closes into a sale?
Yes, basically.
And the lead comes to you because people want a carbon neutral solution? Okay,
Absolutely.
so you hand it over, you subcontract.
Yeah, that's actually quite ingenious.
Okay.
But we also found another little niche market along the way. And
of course.
in the UK, as of the 28th of October this year, there are 15,643 energy assessors in the UK. The original government white paper said that they would only need between 2,000 and 3,500 to manage the energy performance certificates demand in this country. So we're dealing with a very fiercely competitive market. Now what I've done is I've built a website and we've got consent for 1,500 energy assessors out of those 15,000 at present to be advertising on our website for free. Just name, town, telephone number. We're offering them the opportunity to have their own individual page where the customers can rate their services, make comments about their services, and they can also have an A5-sized advert of their own with links to their website and email links. We're charging a very reasonable rate for that, which is only £60 plus VAT per 6 months. We're also offering the energy assessors now 1% commission on commercial air conditioning systems and a £50 cash payment for every Altherma air source heat pump on a domestic application that they would sell for us.
You've got more ideas happening than I have time for you to just describe. So slow down for 2 seconds and just answer one question. How do you manage to deliver a planted tree for so much less than everyone else?
We're working
Is that something, just straight out, why is it cheaper for you?
I think it was just luck. I stumbled across it's a charity that are planting them for us. We're working in cooperation with the charity as authorised fundraisers in the UK for them, with authorised and approved added value to the fundraising, hence the other products. This charity have been planting trees for over 20 years. They have a 4-star rating on the American Charity Navigator's website. And they're not interested in profit, they're just interested in self-help. So they're actually planting the trees for what it costs them. They're not making any extra money out of it. And they're basically the cheapest organisation in the world that I've found. They've already planted over 80 million.
We have a it's great. Look at, there's nothing I like better than somebody who's so successful he doesn't even have time to tell me how successful he is. That's not a problem. Do you have any challenges currently?
My biggest challenge at the moment is the main purpose behind our plan to give away free solar power in the UK. I'm working at the moment with a senior contracts manager who's also a volunteer, and we're trying to put together a feasibility study to build a wind generator turbine park. We're actually planning, if we can, to get away with building 7 3-megawatt turbines, which is going to be
capital intensive.
a £21 million project.
So
feasibility study,
your challenge is?
To raise £21 million for a social enterprise.
You do realize you put me in a position where we are now running out of time, and you presented me with a thundershot last item. Oh, and by the way, I could use 21 mil, Doug, on my way out, he says. Anthony, over to you, of course.
Of course, absolutely. So what experience has your team got of running wind turbine projects? And
we have no experience of actually running the wind turbine projects, but...
Would you do me a favour and just...
Sorry, we have no experience of running the wind turbine projects, but we are working closely with an organisation who have set up and helped people to organise wind turbine projects on a worldwide scale. And they will also give you the advice and assistance that you need in actually running the project once it's there. I'm also dealing with a major power company at the moment, who are actually quite friendly, and they will give you all the help and advice that you need. They're working on the basis that they're just going to pay me feed-in tariffs, and you know, they don't actually know that we're going to apply to become licensed suppliers ourselves in the end once we've got this project built. But there are a lot of people out there that will help us. Our project manager has also worked for a major company that dealt with the installation of wind turbines. Mainly he would supervise the lifting side of the project rather than the nitty-gritty and everything. But we've got some good people, is all I can say at the moment. We don't have enough. We're not investment ready at this stage. We're still quite early stages, but we've got a lot of enthusiasm. We're getting some free advertising on the newspaper.
Do you want an answer to your question as well? Would you like I can't get a word in. Would you like an answer to the question as well? Sure. All right, so take 2 minutes out and take a deep breath, because we're going to run out of time to talk about it. You're doing some wonderful stuff. So, Anthony, do you want to give a quick feedback?
My feedback actually is quite similar to one of the other projects we talked about earlier, which is we've, in this very short time, seemed to have talked through about 4 different businesses. And actually that, for any investor, that's quite challenging. Because you've talked a lot about what sounds like a very compelling offer in terms of matching a very low-cost supply of carbon offset trees to a need. You talk very compellingly about delivering in terms of your solar, and then you've jumped over to wind. And if you're wanting to raise a big chunk of money, actually one of the things people are really looking for is focus. And one of the things Doug said earlier in the afternoon was an entrepreneur is about delivering 110% focus on what they're going to deliver. That's quite difficult when a business seems to be running 3 or 4 different projects. And therefore I think you've really got to try and, you could have started this discussion with, I want to raise 21 million for a wind turbine and these are my credentials. And that would have been a better way of going about it. So as you're developing your project and idea, I would imagine 21 million fundraise is a lot larger than you raised for any of the other projects. Well, that must become your focus. And you've got to then build a well of support around that. That would be my focus.
And in the 1 second we have left, I think there's another way to look at it, if you like, as well. But it does go back to a focus. I don't know how much more of those trees you could sell, but I think you could sell probably anybody anything. You're very persuasive, and I think that I think people never test pricing. Has been my experience. People set a price, and for whatever reason, it gets built into the system, the business, the organization. But here you are, legally structured in a way that's incredibly reassuring. You've taken successful advantage of everything people want those things to do. You found a way to create a revenue stream. I would assert that if you can find a way to incredibly narrowly focus on the increase of that revenue stream, then that revenue stream could create something else. It could create serviceability of a loan. Because 21 million pounds is a lot of money to raise. Oddly enough, the cost of servicing the loan on 21 million pounds over 30 years is much, much less. And therefore the question is, if you could prove a sustainable ability to service that loan, first of all, it's a remarkable accomplishment, but even more importantly, it puts you in a position where other people might not actually have to invest. They might be willing to guarantee. They might be willing to participate in providing assets that are indentured, that are put against it. It's a much more sophisticated question then. But because you haven't maximized the revenue itself, because you're charging 10p and the commercial guys are charging 290, neither you nor I know where the price sensitivity curve is. And so I would challenge you to go out and find out how much money, free money, you can create. And if you want to give it all away right now in these products, because as you say, you've got a job to do, you have to give this money away in some way that adds value, great. But put yourself in a position to shift gears and say, look, we are creating a free cash flow of this amount of money. And what we want to do is service a loan towards this end, and we're building a team to support it. It seems to me a very sophisticated opportunity then. And I'm afraid that I have to kind of cut it short there because we got 4 more to come. But ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause. Thanks very much, Mark. That was very